Is your organization suffering from standard work stagnation? Well, yeah, I'm just making that up for the most part. I'm Greg Schinkel, President of Unique Training and Development and Frontline Leadership Systems. And today I want to just talk about how standard work, standard operating procedures, how these things can sometimes get out of hand, and as a leader you can almost put so much emphasis on them that it takes away some of the innovation and flexibility in your work group. Now, of course, standardizing work is so important, especially in an operational environment. After all, many organizations will put a lot of time and energy into creating these SOPs, or standard operating procedures, or they'll standardize work with the belief, of course, that there is a one right way, best way of conducting the work that will maximize quality and productivity and safety, of course. But what happens when those standard operating procedures start to stagnate? It's not unusual for companies, when they have a quality issue, to issue a new procedure or a new checklist. After all, if I'm the quality manager, issuing a new checklist allows me to tell the customer, hey, we fixed that. But before you know it, those kind of procedures start to really stack up, and nobody ever goes back to see whether some procedures should be actually eliminated or revised. Because sometimes the people who are writing the procedures actually aren't even in tune with what's actually happening on the floor. So the SOP doesn't even work realistically by the people who have to use it to create production. Now, really, standard work and standard operating procedures were meant to be sort of in sync or collaborative with Kaizen. And Kaizen, of course, is continuous improvement. So the idea was to standardize work, but then constantly look at ways to improve it. The problem in most organizations is once they set it, they forget it. Set it and forget it. So it's like that chicken fryer from Ronco. Now, the reality is we need to look at some of the standard operating procedures and either eliminate them or rework them to make them more effective. And sometimes that means you as a frontline leader need to actually challenge some of the procedures. And that can be a bit awkward because the people that created them have a sense of ownership and they might get defensive when you challenge some of the procedures. But you want to make them better and more usable. Now, if you're watching this video and you happen to be a person responsible for writing procedures, remember no SOP should be created without actually consulting with people who have to follow it and use it on the shop floor. Otherwise, it just becomes, again, a joke to the people who have to use it, and then they're always doing workarounds and the procedure itself isn't that effective. And again, if you have procedures, you need to have continuous improvement because there are usually better ways of doing things, or sometimes that procedure worked for a few years, but now it actually doesn't work. So as a frontline leader, your job is to really look at the tools that you have available for you and your team, occasionally question it, certainly make suggestions for improvement, and then marry up standard operating procedures with continuous improvement and Kaizen to make your process better and better. And once you've gotten better at using your SOPs more constructively, you might want to work on some of your other leadership attributes. And of course, you can do that by having us on site to work exclusively with your team, or perhaps you want to send someone to our frontline leadership workshop that we run in several cities. Or maybe you just need to buy some of the resources we have on our website at uniquedevelopment.com. Now, in terms of connecting with our leader community, you can do that on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or of course on Facebook. You can just search us out at Frontline Leader. No matter how you connect with us, I look forward to being a resource that you can use to improve your leadership effectiveness.